He looked me in the eyes and said I had nothing to offer. He didn't know I was the one holding his future.
My name is Ethan Harper. People who know me would describe me as calm, reserved, and perfectly comfortable staying in the background. And honestly, that suits me just fine. I've never been someone who needs applause to feel a sense of accomplishment. But that one night at my wife Clara's office party, my quiet nature became ammunition for a man who really should have thought twice before trying to belittle me. The event was held at a stunning rooftop lounge downtown, glowing with fairy lights and the low, pleasant hum of laughter. Clara looked absolutely incredible in an emerald dress, her hand warm and linked with my arm. She had insisted that I come. It's just a simple gathering, she'd said. But as anyone who's ever been to a corporate event knows, simple is rarely the truth. For the first hour, everything was fine. We engaged in small talk, had a few drinks, and listened to colleagues stringing together compliments like beads on a necklace. Then Gregory Blackwell, Clara's boss, spotted us. He was tall, impeccably dressed, and wore a smug expression in that effortless, polished way of a man who thinks authority equals superiority. He approached us with a smirk that might as well have been a warning label. "Well, well," he said, his eyes sweeping me up and down. "So you're the famous husband Clara never stops talking about." The word famous dripped with sarcasm. I felt Clara stiffen beside me. "I've heard you're a quiet one," Gregory continued, his gaze fixed on me. "Not much of a presence, huh?" People nearby pretended not to be listening, but their eyes kept flicking toward us, drawn to the unfolding drama. I just smiled politely. "I like observing more than talking," I replied. He leaned in a little closer, his voice dropping slightly. "You know, quiet men often fall into two categories, those who have nothing to offer, and those who are hiding something." The air around us shifted. It wasn't dramatic, but it was subtle, like a string being pulled tight. I didn't rise to the bait. Instead, I held his gaze and said evenly, "Maybe it just depends on who's doing the assuming." He blinked, clearly surprised that I hadn't folded under his pressure. Clara squeezed my arm, a silent plea for me not to take it any further. I didn't plan to. Not yet, anyway. Gregory let out a short, forced chuckle, trying to reclaim his air of superiority. "Tell me, Ethan, what exactly do you do? I'm genuinely curious what keeps such a quiet man busy." His tone was dismissive, the kind someone uses when they believe they're talking to a person who is harmless, unimportant, and easy to overlook. I didn't flinch. "I handle things that don't need to be public," I said calmly. "Not everything worth knowing is loud." A flicker of unease crossed his face. For the first time, he couldn't read me. And for the first time all evening, Clara looked at me not with worry, but with a spark of pride. He walked away eventually, muttering something about needing to mingle. But the stage was already set. He had thrown the first punch. What he had no idea of was that I'd already won. After Gregory left, Clara pulled me aside. "Ethan," she whispered urgently, "please, just take it easy." Gregory, he absolutely hates being challenged. I brought her hand to my lips and kissed it gently. "I'm not challenging him," I assured her. "I'm just not afraid of him." When we returned to the crowd, it didn't take long for Gregory to approach us again, like a man determined to reclaim a throne he felt was rightfully his. This time, he was carrying a fresh drink and a newly sharpened arrogance. "You know," he said, his voice loud enough for the nearby coworkers to hear, "I've met truly impressive men in my time, leaders, innovators, people who command a room." He then looked me over, slowly, from head to toe. "And then there are people like you. It's hard to tell if you're hiding brilliance, or if there's simply nothing there." The conversations around us slowed to a halt. Several of Clara's colleagues exchanged uneasy glances. I could see Clara's jaw clench in frustration. I didn't rush my response. I let the silence stretch out because silence has a way of making insecure men very, very nervous. Then I smiled. Enigma is a polite word for underestimated, I said. But you'll find that progress usually happens quietly, not loudly. This time, my words didn't just land. They echoed. I heard someone in the group murmur, "Damn." Gregory's smug smile faltered for a moment. It was quick, but it was visible. He took a step closer, his voice no lower, more intense. "You think you're clever, don't you, Ethan?" "I think you're used to people being intimidated," I replied. "That's not the same thing." He stiffened. The dynamic had shifted, subtly but decisively. People weren't laughing at his jabs anymore. Now they were looking at me with a completely different kind of curiosity. Clara whispered my name, "Ethan." But it wasn't a tone of fear this time. It was admiration. Right then, I decided to leave Gregory with something to chew on, not a threat. Not a boast, just a simple truth delivered politely. "Gregory," I said, my voice pleasant and calm. "Before judging the surface, it's always wise to understand the foundation that lies beneath it." He didn't respond. He couldn't, because for the first time that evening, he realized he wasn't in control of this narrative. And the quiet man he tried to mock wasn't the easy target he thought he was. He had assumed that silence meant weakness, but he was about to learn that some of the most powerful forces in the world are the ones you never see coming. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more. See you in the next one.